Surrounding Bitcoin, there's a whole new evolutionary flora of cryptocurrencies, each with their own use case, their issuance, their function, and their protocol level mechanisms. One of the most intriguing and successful of these is Dash. Dash is a privacy-centric two-tiered network, and it has instant transactions. Evan Duffield, the lead developer of Dash, has over 17 years of experience with software development and has intimate knowledge of decentralized funding, governance, voting, and infrastructure. So without further ado, Evan Duffield.
Hello, so my name is Evan Duffield, and I'm the lead developer and founder of the Dash project. Dash is something that I think everyone here would be really interested in learning more about. Dash is innovative, and we've tried to make something unique in the space. And so with all of these unique features that's available, we really envision a large group of people using the Dash project for all sorts of things. So what exactly is Dash? Dash is a fork of Bitcoin, and as a fork of Bitcoin, we inherit all of the compatibility with the Bitcoin software and the Bitcoin ecosystem. So we can have SPV wallets, and we can have all of the things that were invented for the Bitcoin network. But then we can also utilize all of these other technologies that were invented specifically for Dash. Dash also has a two-tier network. A two-tier network is quite different than the Bitcoin's single-tier network. Single-tier network is a network of undifferentiated full nodes. So the software isn't really interested or doesn't differentiate one full node from another. They have no identification system. And on the Dash network, you can collateralize a full node and turn it into a second-tier node, which gives the network some special functionality. We're also a young and adventurous currency. Having a much smaller market cap, we've been able to really be on the leading edge of innovating and trying to create some functionalities that were at the time unproven and that have turned out to be incredibly powerful. Our market cap is currently about $32 million, which is much smaller than the Bitcoin market cap. And our user base is about 10,000 people so far. And so now we've just gotten into trying to expand the user base of our currency for what it's good at. So what exactly is the Dash network for? So far in the 2 years that the Dash network has been around, we've been implementing features like instant transactions. So you can transact on our network and you get confirmation within about 1 to 4 seconds. And that'll tell the network that these coins are secure and they are going to the destination that you said they would. They're immutable transactions. This is really important for situations like proof of stake, right? POS systems, and other merchant type places where you would want to buy something face to face and walk out with some merchandise right after you purchased it. We also have privacy and fungibility. So you can erase your transaction history at any time if you feel like you would want to, just like you could do in Chrome when you want to clear your browser history. Our currency is self-funding and self-governing as well. We have a voting system in place which is controlled by the second tier, and it allows us some special funding capabilities, a reoccurring revenue stream that is really useful for expanding a currency. And scalable infrastructure that's also decentralized. This can scale up to millions of users. So what is this second tier concept and how exactly does it work? The second tier is essentially full nodes that were collateralized. So imagine that you have some Dash and you're an investor and you have 1,000 Dash. So guess what? As an investor with 1,000 Dash, you can actually take a full node and then you upgrade it on the network to a second tier master node. And then immediately you get entered into a payment queue. So you start receiving payments every 5 days, and those allow you to pay for server costs, and they give you a profit incentive for running this infrastructure. Currently, it pays about 14% per year. So on 1,000 dash, you make about 140 dash a year. And this is really important because it allows our network to scale over time. As the network gets larger and it gets more users, this money that these people are getting that are running the second tier gets more valuable, and then they have more money to run better servers over time and provide a really good user experience. As a masternode operator, you also have voting rights on the network. These are special, so you could vote on current pending matters that are unresolved and debate different things about what is going on in the network. For example, let's say there's a domain that we have an eye on, dash.org, and it's expensive. It costs $20,000, and no one personally wants to take the burden of paying for this domain. How does a decentralized project fund something like this? And so we've taken a part of the blockchain, and it's a part of the block reward specifically. And we split the block reward so that part of it goes to transactional security, part of it goes to infrastructure to pay the masternode network, and then approximately up to 10% goes to funding initiatives like this. All of the masternodes all around the world vote on these initiatives, and the ones with the most support win, and then those get paid out at the end of the month. So dash.org, for example, was successfully proposed, and we purchased the domain. We've also funded 3 separate conferences with this feature, and we've funded Instant X soda machine. We've also funded Lamasu integration, which will put us in up to 150 ATMs all around the world. And we've funded 3 PR campaigns so far. And so this has proved to be really valuable for a decentralized project because it's really difficult to keep asking for donations over and over and over again because no one wants to foot the bill for the whole currency. So far we have 3,500 masternodes, which represents 3.5 million dash. It's substantial and it proves that the model works. It's been a very powerful incentive for drawing in investors and then bootstrapping our infrastructure. This is actually comparable to the Bitcoin network, which has 5,600 full nodes. And if you count our full nodes plus our master nodes, we have similar infrastructure currently to the Bitcoin network, even though we are a fraction of the size. And soon, we even might have more deployed infrastructure than the Bitcoin network, which is going to allow us to grow exponentially for years to come. So with all of these cool features and the scalability and instant transactions, fungibility, self-governance, and self-funding, what's next for Dash? And this is where Dash evolution comes in. The idea behind this is to make cryptocurrency familiar to people that have never used it before. It all goes back to allowing wallets to talk from any wallet to any wallet on the network. So imagine that you and your friend have wallets on Dash Evolution, and you friend each other. And now you can send messages through the network, through the masternode network, to each other, privately and encrypted. So imagine what you could do with that as a wallet developer. And it turns out you can do a lot with that, even though it's so simple. So network-wide multisig. Imagine we have standards for multisig that are published. Anyone that is developing a wallet can choose whether or not to include these standards. And then when your wallet identifies with the network, it says, I support this standard or this standard. So for example, you are an executive of a board, and you have a few other executives, and you're all using different wallets on the network. And so you want to do a multi-sig transaction for a recent purchase. And how do you do that? Well, it's pretty simple with this infrastructure. All you do is you would send a message saying, hey, I'd like to authorize this transaction. They would then sign it, send it back. And then after that was done, you broadcast the message to the network. Or pay to contact, also known as pay to friend or pay to alias. It would allow you to pay your friends directly just by typing their name in the address bar. And this can also be done by this communication layer. You're friends with the person and they send you a few addresses to your wallet, encrypted, private, and you would just use those for the next payments to them. Or shared transactional descriptions. When you're paying your friend by alias, you could also say, hey, I'm paying you back for dinner. You don't even have to tell them you're sending them a payment. They would already know because they gave you the address. And in their wallet, it would pop up and say, yeah, this is payment from Evan for dinner. Or two-factor transactional security. Let's say we include Google Authenticator into the network itself, use the masternode network as decentralized oracles, and then when you want to do a transaction on the network, it asks you for the authorization code, and these oracles then validate the code, countersign the transaction, broadcast it to the network. Or one-click merchant adoption system. You're shopping around and you can actually use a Pay with Dash button, and the network facilitates the transaction. Dash Evolution can be a payment gateway because of this feature as well. Whereas a company like BitPay would be used in the Bitcoin ecosystem, we could actually fund this development and we could implement it directly into the network protocol so that our network would facilitate the transactions. And because the masternode network is already paid from the blockchain, they don't need a profit incentive. So we could actually subsidize the cost, make it free to use, and then it makes it very difficult to compete with our network for this type of commerce. So how would this instant checkout process work exactly? So let's say you're shopping on your laptop and you find some socks you like, so you throw them in a shopping cart, you get to the checkout process, you click Pay with Dash, and then the merchant side propagates a message to the network, to your username, and says, hey, I see you want to buy some socks, is that correct? You have a temporary session open, so no one can spam you, but you can still open and ask for payment requests. So what happens next is your phone buzzes, so you get it out of your pocket, it's the Dash Pay wallet, and it's asking you, do you really want to buy socks for $7.34? You click authorize, which then your phone sends a message to the merchant directly, and then it also sends a message to the network propagating the transaction. The merchant sees the transaction, sees the message, and then the confirmation page comes up. And it's that simple and all free to use on the Dash network. So how easy would it be to implement something like this into a website? Really easy. We're going to have an SDK. You could either implement it via REST HTTP, or you could implement it WebSockets. And all of the masternodes that support this functionality. So these merchants are then connecting to one of 3,500 servers all around the world, and it's implemented and up and running in no time flat. It almost seems like you're using a centralized service because the masternode network is the one thing that's doing all of the work and makes it really simple to utilize. All of this is built on a multi-tiered decentralization model. So we have the same single tier that the Bitcoin network does, and then built on top of that, the second tier. The second tier is the one that, again, is doing instant transactions, the fungibility and privacy, along with determining what we're funding and governing the currency itself. And then on top of that, they also process transactions. They're listening on the network for anyone that wants to do anything relating to the users outside of the network. And these people we're calling the third tier. So imagine millions of users outside of the network all connecting to random master nodes. There could be 3,500 of them, each supporting up to 10,000 of these people. And so that's 35 million users possible right now with our current infrastructure. And then as a user, you simply just log in with a username, password, and then you get the same user experience no matter where you log in from. So imagine you log in on your phone, you would see the same transactional descriptions, all of the same friends, everything's the same. Just like you would logging into a company like PayPal. Or you log in at work and you see the same thing, because you can actually store some of the information that you need on the network itself. So this is what we're calling decentralized commerce. It's purely decentralized start to finish. It's merchant enabled. It's really easy to use. It's friendly for the people that are using it. And it's all made possible by this two-tier infrastructure. So let's go ahead and compare Bitcoin, PayPal, and Dash. Dash is essentially a decentralized version of PayPal. We've taken the user accounts, the instant payment processing, and the pay-to-user that people are familiar with, and then we've added all of the things that people like about Bitcoin in, such as the freedom of expression and the very little regulation because it's a decentralized system, allowing it to grow and be used open-ended by anyone in the way that they want to use it. And then as far as Bitcoin goes, it is more of a decentralized layer for doing commerce. And it's more of a protocol. So the Dash project, in a sense, is something kind of like a hybrid of a centralized company in a completely decentralized way, with only decentralized technologies. And in that way, we get all of the efficiency of a centralized organization without any of the problems that they experience. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. It's been a lot of fun. If you're thirsty and you want to check out the Instant X soda machine, come find us in the lobby. We have an exhibit booth, and I'll buy you a soda if you want. Confirms really, really quickly, and it's a lot of fun. Also, if you want to check out the prototype, you can go to dashevolution.com. If you click documentation, there's a video of all of this functionality in action. It's really neat, and you can also download it and actually play with the network in its current state. It's really early, but it's still really exciting to see it coming to life. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.